It's Memorial Day weekend, so what that means here in Oklahoma is rain. We've had lots of it the last couple of days. I'm not exactly sure how much. It's rained off and on all day. At the moment, we've got some sunlight. So I am trying to get out into the garden and do some work today. I just got off work. It's Friday, and I want to work on getting the drip irrigation finished up. I got the main line put in, and it's time to put in the drip lines for at least several of the plants. Tomato plants, the pepper plants, and the potatoes and the squash and all the stuff that we've got in this garden in here. I need to get the drip lines set up for. That's what's on tap. I have a problem though. This thing, I knew I'd need to cut this back, but while I'm looking at this, I'm going to have to raise this tank to get the timer and the filter underneath this so it still goes in here. So I'm going to add at least one row of bricks. I've got half bricks. Hoping that's enough. I might have some actual cinder blocks. If I do, I'll use those first. But that's what's first up, because I need to raise this tank up so everything will flow downhill. And then once that's done, it's just a matter of putting in drip lines for each of the plants. Whew. Apparently there's still some water in here. Yes, more water than I expected. All right, that's going to do it. I haven't tightened it onto this yet because I'm going to add another line to go down that center aisle so I can put drip irrigation on the plants I've got in the center aisle instead of still watering those by hand. And I need to get that in before I do this, just so I can move it around a little bit easier. So what we've got here, if I've got that one T-line installed, or that T installed, I've tied it into this T, and then that hose will go up to the timer and the filter that's on the tank. Now I just got to figure out where I did with my main line. I thought it was over here, but it's not. Well, I found it. It wasn't too far away. It was just right outside. I was hoping I could reuse an older pipe that I'd used last year, but it wasn't long enough. All right, so when I was first looking at this, my head may be cut off, but it won't be that way for long. I almost ran it through the middle of this tomato cage again, and I learned my lesson last time, and I thought to check. So I need to make sure, I need to make sure water's running downhill. Now I am going to zip tie it to it, but at least I can take this off, move it real easy. I think what I'm going to do, instead of cutting this, I'm just going to roll rotate it around here and zip tie it on this other side as well. That way, if I ever need to use this pipe again, I can without cutting it. So all I'm doing is taking this in. Goodness gracious, it's hard to grip it. And I've got it on like that. And now I just tighten this down over it. And that gives us a waterproof seal. All right, that should do it. If it doesn't, I may need to get a shovel and dig this bottom one over here down a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. And if I don't get more beans growing in that pot, it may not matter. All right, so now it's time to install our drip lines. So what I want to do is find a drip line that's long enough. I took these out of one we'd used last time, and it was just sitting. You may not be able to see that. I took these that we had used last year and pulled them out of their container since they weren't being used. And that's going to work. I'm just going to put this, use the tool to poke a hole. And then poke this through that hole. I'm going to turn this off and put it there in the soil. And then it'll drip once I adjust how much. Installing drip irrigation is super simple. Let me do one more for you, and then we'll speed things up. I want to find one that'll reach. Normally I just cut my line to size, but since I've got these. Now on this one, I'm going to do something maybe a little different. Normally I just go straight towards the plant, but this one has the, what's that called? Marigold in there as well. So I'll probably put it between the two of them so I don't have to put two lines in here. So since I have the marigold in here, I'm trying to water the marigold and the tomato plant all at the same time. I just decided to get a fresh line so I can make it the length I want it. Because one was longer than I wanted and everything else was too short. So I just measured it to wherever I want it to go. Cut it without cutting me. I need a drip emitter. That I'll put on one end. Making sure it's in the off position. And then I just need the ones that go into the main line. It's a lot like the emitter, except for it doesn't adjust. It just has a poke on it. That emitter I could actually put a line on the other end as well if I wanted. All right, so poke a hole. Drop the emitter, or the whatever this is called. So as I was saying earlier, and I don't think it actually recorded, we did this last year so we could go out of town. We wanted to go help some people that was needing some help, but while we wanted to help, we also didn't want everything to just die. There you go. And now I can move on to the next one. And setting this up was so simple. It didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take, and it saved our garden. And it sure makes watering easy, especially if you really like to water earlier in the day like I do. You can set it up to water in the middle, whatever time you want if you got a timer. So what I'm looking for now is a drill bit. It might be too small, but I'll give it a shot. This line is slightly below the limb or the lip of the thing here. So I'm going to drill a hole through, and then I can just bring it in sideways. I can take these off relatively easy. So it's not like they're going to be here forever and ever. I can just take it off when I need to. Bigger drill bit would have been better. There we go. And I drilled that hole and I don't like where it's going. I love gardening. What's funny is I've loved gardening for a long time. And most of the time, it's getting better now, I didn't actually like eating most of the stuff that I grew. So I didn't like eat most of the stuff I grew. I liked jalapenos chopped up and put in stuff, or chopped up and sprinkled on top of stuff. I liked bell peppers in things. I liked onions in things. I liked tomatoes in things. I like spinach. And that was pretty much it. So I just like the garden. I don't know what it is. Something about growing, planting a seed, watching it grow, come to fruit. I've loved it. Now I'm eating a lot more vegetables than I used to, which is making my wife and mom, for that matter, extremely happy. But I just love to garden. And it's a lot easier than people think. And you know what? If it doesn't work, you can try it again next year, or just try it again. Anyway, I'm going to speed things up and get to work and see how much I can get done. Day's getting long and my wife is cooking dinner, and so whenever I stop for the evening, I'll stop and I'll pick back up in the morning. Well, I'm done for the evening because I ran out of emitters. I have to buy some more, unless I steal from them this side. But I don't know what's going on over here, so I'd sort of hate to do that. So I've got all but one there, all but one there. I'm not doing the yarrow. The basil's got a line on it. All 3 tomato plants have one. The back marigold has one. All 3 tomatoes and the basil has one. The far marigold has one. And this whole center row, peppers, tomatoes, pepper, 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 and the 2 beans that have already come up. Because I was low on emitters, I decided not to do one for all 6 that should come up, and I'll add more later if needed. But that's it for tonight anyway. I'm going to cool off a little bit, take a shower, and see how close dinner is. So it's day 2 of our drip irrigation project today, and it's rained a good portion of the day. So I haven't been out here. I've been trying to do other stuff with limited amount of success. But there's a break in the rain, so I wanted to try to get out here and do a little bit more work. One of the things I'm going to do is I want this mounted up here like I had it yesterday, but the hose that we use to hook up to our pump, I want to put it through the side, stick it in here, and let it just fill, because it's going to be so high, I'm not going to mess with getting it up there every single time. And if my wife does this, she won't be able to do it at all. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. I want to get this in here and then hopefully cover up this hole. This fits, but I'll have to caulk it to keep like mosquitoes and the like out, which I'm okay with. Because once this is in here, I probably won't be taking it out. And if I do, I can just break the caulking loose and get in there. So the first thing I want to do is take this end off. Attempt to take this end off. Here it goes. There we go. So that's off. I should be able to drill a 1/2 inch hole through here and then slide this through. I'd love it to be really pretty tight, if at all possible. So let's see. Oh yeah. Now the trick is to not drop anything in here. So I got to put this back on. And this has the nipple in it that goes inside this pipe and the threads to tighten it on. There we go. Pull this back through. It won't come out. It's a nice tight fit. And I'll find some caulk to caulk that on with. And then we should be good. It'll fill up with water. I could put some screening on. I may actually do that. That would give it better ventilation. Let me go see if I can find that, because that would work better. I just want to make sure I don't get any mosquitoes in here, because I don't want a mosquito breeding ground where I'm going to be spending time. All right, I got what I need. Did find some screening. And I found some caulking. You know what? It's dirty, it's filthy, it's nasty, it's messy, and it's going to work. And I have people ask me about these pants all the time, if I don't have more. do have different pans, but these are not worth anything. We paid $5 for them probably 15 years ago, maybe longer. And it don't matter what happens to them. All right. Hoses in, screens in. I can fill the tank. I just got to get it up here again. Before I do that, this rim is catching and holding water, which is a great place for mosquitoes to live. And I don't want that. So I'm going to put some drain holes in this rim. All right, hose is in place. This is in place. Let me get this back on here. Now what I'm going to do now, which I didn't do last time, I intended to and never did. I've got some of this metal strapping. I'm going to screw it onto this 2x4 and bring it around this to the other 2x4. That 2x4 is attached multiple places on this 4-foot section of metal. So if this was to fall, it would have to bring over this whole thing or break the 2x4, which is also a possibility. I just want to try to make sure things stay secure, you know? It's not that big of a deal. That should do it. Maybe I should put a second one. My biggest fear was it falling off, not getting knocked off. I'm going to hold off on the second one, but if you think I should put a second one on, let me know in the comments, and I'll come back later and put a second one on. You know, with all the rain coming around, I might as well go fill this up so it'll refill the IBC totes. Let me go put up the electronics, all the tools, and get on that. I just rent this shirt. That's awesome. I set the drill in the caulking, and now it's all over me. Awesome. All right, so I have my Jackery, I've got my pump, and I've got my hoses. Let me move my Jackery away from the water. This is out, this is in, because this is the side with the filters on it. There we go. Pump's running. Runs better if the hose is in. It's not working quite right. Let me figure out what's going on. It could be dirt because these hoses were left out here. There we go. It's probably dirt in the connector because it did not want to go. So I got my 12-volt pump here. This side is the filter. It's going into the water. That's just rainwater catchment. And the other side goes up to the pump or to the barrel. And that's all there is to it. Now, normally what I would do, at least last year, I'd get this going, I'd fill it up, and I could walk over to the IBC tote on the shed, fill up another bucket, and get it back over here before this was ready to be emptied. Today, I'm trying to use up all the green water in the shower IBC tote so we can take it down, clean up the tank, and put things back together over there for shower water. So I'm not going to do that. I'll have to shut this off and walk back and forth. But same basic thing. You know, I was listening to a podcast this morning, and they were talking about if you keep doing the same stuff over and over and over again and you have problems with it, maybe you need to find a different way to do something about it. When I run water through this, it wants to suck up debris. And I got to thinking about the screening that I used a little bit ago. What if I made some sort of screen pouch on this, so when I stick it in the water, it at least traps some of the bigger debris so it doesn't get into the pump. And I said, Terry, that sounds like a really good idea. If you can make it work. And that's what I'm trying to figure out now. Well, that looks like it might work. Let water through. Might have been better if I had more space around the end, but we'll see how that goes. Well, I stopped filling this probably maybe 40 gallons. I'm not 100% sure, because this was leaking. And I added some more caulk around this thing because this isn't super thick and the little nozzle doesn't want to really go in, and I can't reach inside to the bottom to put any kind of nut on the inside. But it was still leaking and leaking and leaking. So I just said, you know what, I'm done. But so far it hasn't leaked anymore that I can tell. I've given it some time, so maybe that's all it needed. All right, so we've got some sunlight, and I've got the 50-gallon tank set up, and it's good to go, the best I can tell, except for that possible leak issue. I just put more caulk on it because I already had it over halfway full before I saw it leaking. So we'll see. I may take it later when it's empty and change out that. But I'm going to go ahead and put in the drip lines for everything else. I know I don't have the drip emitter, but when it comes in the mail, in a week or so, I can just come in, put them on. I won't be using the drip irrigation until I get those in anyway. So I don't see a reason not to go ahead and do this while I've got the time. I've got it in here with the T. Same thing over here. All the tomatoes have T's. That way I just had to run one line to them. All the zucchini and cucumbers are done. The basil, all the basil's done. All the marigolds are done. All the tomatoes are done. All the peppers are done. The 2 beans over here are done. The 2 beans over here are done. And the tomato plant hiding in there is done. So the only thing left to do is put emitters on some of these and figure out what I'm going to do with the cabbages. But I ran out of line. So I have like a foot. So I just decided to stop. My wife's making some dinner. She's got baked beans in the smoker and some jalapeno poppers in the smoker as well. And I think we're doing burgers on the open fire. So pretty excited about that. So right at this moment, the drip irrigation is pretty much done. A few emitters and make sure everything along that far wall is all turned off and I could actually test it out. But I got to wait for the emitters to get here. I still plan to probably, well, I'm probably going to do it, but I'm planning to go ahead and do the drip irrigation on the cabbages as well. They could go into late May. Well, it is already late May, into June. So I'd rather not water them by hand, but we'll see. Anyway, it's really not that hard, and it saves so much time. I know it took me a while to get the water pumped into that 50-gallon container, but we don't have water pressure, so that's our only option. It's either I water by hand or I do a gravity irrigation. I've thought about if I could get a pump to pump water from the IBC totes into that, but we're uphill a decent amount and we're a little ways away, so I just don't know if that'll work. If I had a bigger pump, it'd go faster, but that's a smaller pump, so it's working. So anyway, real excited about this, and we're about to go into June. It's Memorial Day weekend, so June is right around the corner. So here's our garden playlist, which you may find useful. And here is all of our water catchment playlists. Thanks for watching. God bless. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.